Hey, what's up, guys? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering. We're gonna start some new draft picks. I know Innistrad Midnight Hunt's already pretty long in the tooth. I did this series for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, but I haven't done it for Innistrad Midnight Hunt. I'm gonna open some booster drafts packs and then, pick the cards I would pick first, second, third, and so on. I had actually been recording them, if you watch the other series, with a top-down camera. It just took a long time to set up, and I wasn't getting the videos out. I was pushing back trying to film them just because I had too much setup to do, so we're just going to do it this way, just like this pack's in front of me, and hopefully we can film more of these just because they'll be a little bit easier to film this way. Okay, first card is a Pax Betrayal. We got a Shipwreck Sifters, No Way Out, Bramble Armor, Stuffed Bear, Gavany Silversmith, Famished Foragers, Revenge of the Drowned, Clarion Cathars, Lunarch Veteran, Morbid Opportunist, Sacred Fire, Vengeful Strangler, Curse of Shaken Faith is the rare, and then Mountain, little advertisement, and that stuff. So, well, let's take a look. This is what we got. Here's the rare. Let's take a look at the rare. It's definitely, I know, not going to be one of the first picks. It's Curse of Shaken Faith. What this does is it enchants a player for 1 and a red. Whenever an enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn or copies a spell, Curse of Shaken Faith deals 2 damage to them. This is just too clunky. Like, you gotta enchant the person, which is fine, but they have to cast 2 spells. I guess, I mean, I'm thinking of when this would work, with a lot of white creatures. They're really cheap, and so maybe those come down a lot. I don't know. I just feel like this is a very situational card that you wouldn't really care too much about. How many times do you put 2 spells? I mean, it happens, but maybe if you didn't want to lose the 2 life, this would just be like, I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll save up the mana instead. I don't see this as a very powerful card to use, really. I don't see it at all powerful. So, taking a look at the other cards, if this was the pack you got, first of all, it sucks, because this pack kind of sucks, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to go with Gavany Silversmith. Gavany Silversmith is going to be the first pick. White's a decent color in this format. White blue and white black, white red, those white green, they're all good. So white is a color that goes well with a lot of other colors. You get a lot of creatures that are synergistic with each other. And Gavany is one of the most synergistic because when he enters the battlefield, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 targets. You give it to him and someone else. That helps with, getting Coven going. It just pumps up all your creatures. Gavany Silversmith is really good. Let's take him first. If this was what I had left, or maybe if this was passed to me, I think I would go with we have some nice cards. There's decent cards. It just depends on what you're playing. But I personally would pick Lunarch Veteran, especially if I was in white already. It's a 1-drop. This is a great starter, in my opinion. On your first turn, you can drop him, and every other time you drop a creature, you gain a life. That's cool. And he only disturbs for 1 and a white, turns into the Luminous Phantom. And then instead of when creatures come in, you get a life. When creatures leave, you get a life. There's so much value here. He can chump block for you if necessary. Lunarch Veteran, I think, is really great. And then if you have Gavany Silversmith, I mean, you could put a +1/+1 on him, hypothetically. Lots of great things you could do. Next. I think we're going to go with Revenge of the Drowned. This is just really a nice card. This can, win you the game sometimes. because you can target a creature, put it in the top or bottom of the library, their library, and so that gets them off of the battlefield. Plus, you get to make a 2/2 zombie creature token with Decayed, and then it's a really nice just little piece of removal. And then here's the thing, when that card goes back on top of their library, if they want it again, they already know what they're going to draw up. It's kind of like, I already know, and this thing was already on the table. I paid mana for it, and I got to pay mana for it again. That kind of sucks. And if they put it at the bottom of the library, you have effectively just removed it anyway. So that's awesome. It does cost 3 in a blue, so it is a little bit expensive, but it is an instant as well. Getting the black zombie creature token is always really nice as well. This is a really solid card. All right, next up we have Morbid Opportunist, and actually that's what I would pick next. It's a 1/3, so it blocks decently, especially in the beginning. And whenever one or more creatures die, draw a card. Only triggers once a turn. You know what? A lot of times there's creatures dying. I've seen this happen over and over and over. Especially the Decay tokens. Decay tokens, when they die, you get to draw a card. This is really great. In black-white, where you're sacrificing a lot of stuff, or you don't care that you want to, something gets killed so you can disturb it. Really great. You get to just draw cards for that death. I would say Morbid Opportunist would be the next pick. And we're still not picking the rare yet. I'm a big fan of red in this format, and a lot of people don't like red, but I would pick Famished Foragers as the next one, and it's just right. This pack is like picking itself. It says, when Famished Foragers enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, add 3 red. That's so cool. You can have mana for another play, another thing, and if you don't have anything, you can always do what this says on the card. 2 in a red, discard a card, draw a card. So I don't see any downside, especially if you can get this into play with that extra red. That is so good, and it's a 4/3. It's not like it's not a joke creature either. It's pretty strong. To me, it looks like it should have flying. If it did have flying, it would be incredible. Okay, coming up. Yeah, let's go this way. Let's go to Clarion Cathars next. 3/3 for 3 and a white, but you also get a 1/1 human creature. So this is like 2 cards in one. You get a 3/3 creature and a 1/1 creature, and they're both humans. So in the white, this is going to get your board wider and wider. If you have pump spells that pump everybody, or creatures that pump everybody, having a 3/3 and a 1/1 already there, that puts you 2/3 of the way to Coven already. This is really nice for a white deck. Oftentimes, sometimes I'm not really that sure about getting the 1/1 creature out there. In my last draft, I'd rather pick Gavony Silversmith, but I think Clarion Cathars oftentimes will do a nice job and won't get cut from your deck. It'll be one of the creatures that you put there for sure. Okay, we're just going to keep going, and I think this is still correct. Shipwrecked Sifters. It's a blue card. It's a spirit. When Shipwrecked Sifters enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card. That's great. Discard a card. If you discard a spirit card when you do that, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. That's a good deal. I think a really nice deal. And I've done that quite often. You can even throw away another Shipwrecked Sifters and then do that. So it's a good way to cycle kind of through your deck with this card. Not the best creature at 1/2, but I think as a supplement to some of the other blue cards, especially if you're in a disturbed blue deck, white deck, this would be nice. Sacred Fire. This is cool. I just don't find myself in white-red that often. I feel like sometimes I should, because I feel like white-red always ends up left over, and you see all these really great white-red cards. But it does 2 damage to any target, and you gain 2 life. So deal 2 damage, get 2 life, and it has flashback? It's like a 6 to flashback, but hey, later on in the game, this might be a nice little thing at the end because it's any target, even your opponent's face. So this is cool. Sacred Fire, really nice. Only 2 mana on the first cost. I think this would be higher if it wasn't like red-white. If it was just like pure and red, it'd be unfair, but there we go. Still not picking Curse yet. I don't really like the Vengeful Strangler. I've seen Vengeful Strangler out quite often, but this can't block, so it can only attack. But when the Vengeful Strangler dies, return it to the battlefield transformed under your control, attached to target creature. And then what it does is enchants the creature of Planeswalker at the beginning of your upkeep. Enchanted permanent's controller sacrifices a non-land and loses a life. So usually they just sacrifice the thing under this. It's kind of a removal spell, but it's I guess what you would call it a clunky spell. It kind of stays there and then takes a while to remove. I don't know. I just think there are better cards than this. I think some people really do like this card. Maybe I'm just not seeing something. But I'm not a huge fan of this card. Okay, still not taking Curse of Shaken Faith. I think we're going to go... Yeah, I think we're going to go Pax Betrayal. If you know me at all, you know I love this card. Or cards like this where you get to steal your opponent's creatures. I feel like it can be a total game changer. It's happened to me too. And I've gotten my creature stolen and lost the game because of it. It's a surprise almost all the time. It's a super annoying card. It's not as good in this format as like in the previous. But, I still think it's a nice pick. Especially towards the end. You can pick it up. No Way Out. This is a targeted opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. You create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. I like these type of cards. Some people don't care about getting cards out of people's hands, but it feels nice, especially if they only have 2. Or they're running down. I mean, you really take options out of people's hands, when you play this card. This card just tends to get cut too often. There are other things you'd rather play than this. But the times when you can play it, I do feel like it does do a nice job. And it does make your opponent get a little bit frustrated. Okay, at this point, I think we're taking Curse of Shaken Faith. It's finally getting taken, and only because it's a rare, and that's the only reason I'm going to take it, not because I'd play it. Bramble Armor and Stuffed Bear are the final cards. I think these would be just the leftover chaff that no one's going to really care about. It doesn't matter which one you pick. I think I would pick the bear just because it's a bear. That's the literal only reason. And then the Bramble Armor goes last. So let's reverse order these cards. So last pick was Bramble Armor. Next, Stuffed Bear. The rare card, Curse of Shaken Faith. No Way Out. Pax Betrayal. Vengeful Strangler. Sacred Fire. Shipwreck Sifters. Clarion. Cathars. Famished Foragers. Morbid Opportunist. Revenge of the Drowned. Lunarch Veteran. And then the first pick, Gavony Silversmith. So there you have it. Let me know if you think I picked them right or did I pick them all wrong. I'd totally fine either way. Let me know what you would have done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.